The holiday season is one of joy, cheer, and laughter, but for some it can be a test of strength, hope, and a faith of a family. 1 year ago today, Vicky Balistreri lost a battle with cancer, but not before leaving behind her own story that changed the way her family lives every day. KXCV KRNW reporter Andy Campbell presents a very special project, the Cancer Diaries.
I think every day we continue our lives almost as if we're just going through the motions. As kids, we all have people we look up to. I think most kids even write an essay at some point about their hero, and more common than not, we have a misconception that our heroes don't feel pain or they don't know fear, and it turns out that's not the case at all. It's the way they're able to overcome that fear that makes them the hero in our lives. Growing up, I idolized my Aunt Vicky. She was someone I found so easy to look up to. Her ability to find the light in any situation is something I strive to achieve. She had this positivity in everything she did. But it was in 2008 when I watched someone who I considered one of my heroes start to fall apart, and I had to find this positivity within myself to overcome that. In November of 2008, Vicky Balistreri was admitted to the emergency room.
I started feeling tired and somewhat nauseous, running fevers.
My family couldn't help but wonder how this could have happened, but there was at least a silver lining. The doctors could conduct a surgery that would remove the cancer, and we thought we had dodged a bullet, but my cousin Nikki had her own concerns.
I knew that they had found it in her colon, and I was really hopeful at that point because I knew they couldn't get it out. But I remember being really worried that with that surgery, there's a high risk of infection or that they could nick something. And that's what my dad's mom died of. So that was the biggest worry at that point.
The surgery turned out to be successful. The cancer had been removed from her colon, and we thought it was over. We were overwhelmed with joy for 4 years in remission with her. But in 2012, a second diagnosis came that caught everyone off guard.
We were at a gymnastics studio with the girls, just having a good old time. Actually, Mom had watched Olivia that day, and it told me she was tired and that she was probably going to go to the emergency room, which she just thought she was anemic. And I remember calling my dad that night while we were there and checking up on her. They were still waiting to be seen. And then we had gotten home, gotten the kids to bed, and he had called and said that they found it in several places. And I just remember breaking down. I couldn't believe it.
My sisters had been texting my husband, and they wanted him to be here when I found out about it. So he was actually the one that told me, and I knew she had been in the hospital because she wasn't feeling well when she came back from a trip, but everybody was saying at that time that it was just the flu, and I had a feeling that it was something more than that.
I feel like I was being selfish at first, but my first concern was really my mom. She grew up her whole life with her sister. How was she going to suddenly handle knowing that the cancer was back, and even worse this time?
Just disbelief at first, very, very shocked that would have come back so quick and with such a vengeance.
I found out while I was hanging out with my friends. My mom had asked me to call home over text message, which is something that she never did. I stepped out, and when she answered the phone, I could hear the pain in her voice right away, which is something that's really hard to deal with, someone that has always been so strong in your life suddenly breaking down on the phone. I think I knew before she said anything, but I wasn't expecting to hear 4 years, and that was the number that we were first given by the doctors. She started chemotherapy right away, and for 6 months we heard good news. She was winning the fight, but with side effects that were wearing her down.
I'm extremely tired, can't walk very far without taking a rest, sleep a lot, I'm nauseous a lot, I alternate with the diarrhea and the constipation.
After 6 months, she took a month off her treatment to enjoy 2 trips with her family, but when she returned, the cancer had fought back. Innumerable tumors were found in her liver and now in her lungs as well. The fight had only just begun.
I go through once a month. I get IV infusion of oxyplatin, and I'm there all day. They give me that. They give me an infusion of Avastin, and then I go home and I take oral chemo for 2 weeks after that. And then after all of that, I get 1 week off, and then it starts all over again.
At first, the results were positive, but slowly we started to realize it had gone too far. The doctors started telling us that at this point, the chemo was buying her time, but the cancer was winning the battle. I think one of the hardest parts was watching from over 100 miles away as the hope that my family had up till this point began to fade.
I know what the inevitable is. I guess my biggest fear is pain. I don't want her to suffer. I don't want my dad is my other concern, because I worry that he will go shortly after she does, because he doesn't want to live without her. And I guess, yeah, that's my biggest fear, is that for the pain of it all, and for my dad too. I feel like I'm going to lose both of them at the same time.
Sadness that she has to go through this. She's in so much discomfort when she does her chemo. Discomfort and just tiredness. She's not able to do things that she used to do before.
My aunt, the remarkable person that she was, remained to be a positive person. The fight wasn't over in her eyes, and she continued to light up our eyes and give us hope. But around October, I saw her hope even start to falter, and at that point, we were forced to dig deeper within ourselves to find positivity.
Sometimes it is hard, but most of the time I'm pretty resilient.
The holiday season finally came, Vicky's favorite time of year. I saw a light back in her that she had made it this far. About a week before Thanksgiving, she quit chemo treatment and decided to live the rest of her life as best as she could. She was determined to make it until Christmas, but on December 6th, 2012, I received the news that she passed around 11 at night. I had never seen my family so down. It seemed the entire world had just stopped turning, and there was no way to jumpstart it back into motion. What was the purpose in this? And I think that was the question that I kept asking myself. She would have wanted us to see the bright side, but what was it? And I couldn't find it. I was at her funeral when my cousin got up and told his story, how caring, giving, and loving she was, how much of a mother she truly was. Then the words she left with me echoed through my head about what this experience really did to her.
I think I've become a more caring person, a more appreciative of everything every day that I experience.
I had become so overwhelmed with the negativity that I ignored the positivity that even she held on to.
She still cracks jokes when we're around her. She still, we went to Deanna Rose with the girls, and although she had to sit down a lot and take breaks, she would sit in the wagon, which is just funny to see, grown women sitting in a wagon, and she doesn't tip it over.
Negative experiences can show us just how much we have in our lives to be thankful for.
I really appreciate everything that they've done for me, and how much love and support I've been given, that I appreciate it very much.
I read a book after she passed, and a sentence in it summed up her attitude through the entire fight, which is cancer is a word, not a sentence. And that was exactly how she lived. She didn't spend her last year dying. She spent her last year living. Why wait to discover the thanks and appreciation she found in everyday things when we can discover the true meaning of life right now? That hope is stronger than any pain, love stronger than any hate, and faith stronger than any fear.
Then the fear creeps in and the what if, so I would say just you take it day by day, minute by minute, hour by hour, moment by moment.
The lessons she taught our family are ones we'll never forget. We have to stand together no matter what. Through her fight, she told us everyone is fighting something. Depression, loneliness, and even death. But that's what connects every person, and together we can overcome all life's struggles.
You can get through it, and that you just have to have faith that you're going to be okay.
My aunt left behind a legacy and a story of courage and faith, changing the word cancer in my mind to warrior and survival. She left behind the lessons that will steer our lives, and she left behind her Cancer Diaries.